Alright, hello, welcome back to the podcast. Once again, everybody, PayPal and Patreon links are both down below for anybody who wants to support me. Only do so if you actually can. So haven't spoken about lumber prices for a while after, because of issues during these last 2 years, having shattered their previous records, getting all the way up on the market to over $1,600 per trading unit. For comparison, before that, the record high was only about $650 or so. However, after that, they collapsed down by some bit and were sticking around 1,000 or the upper several hundreds or so until just recently, in the last few weeks, they have had another sudden crash brought about by recent events. And at least in trading on the market, they have crashed back down to what we can effectively call normal in some air quotes at this point. And by normal, I mean after basically spending the last 2 or 2.5 years non-stop above its pre-2020 record high of 650 or so, it has now actually crashed down from closer to 1,000 down to being closer to 500, fluctuating around 600 in the upper 500s. So it is actually finally back down below the previous record high that it had back in what we'll call the normal times. Now, in regards to people actually buying lumber products and the like, as I've said in past lumber videos, the market price correlation does not translate into actual product prices for at least a couple months, because commodities of any kind on the market are traded in futures. So any significant price decreases in lumber products on the consumer end will likely not materialize until around maybe August, but more likely September. And the reasons for prices finally crashing back down into what you could consider a normal or pre-2020s, pre-era of chaos price range is because of a variety of things. The former COVID and wildfire-related supply disruptions have come to an end, and the former deficits and backlogs have finally been worked through. And also the supply disruptions to lumber from Canada caused by massive floods and fires last year and this past winter. Those disruptions have finally been overcome as well. And the main trigger for being such a big, steep drop is the collapse in scheduled construction of new housing units of all kinds. As previously for this year, construction of roughly 1 million had been on order. However, because of recent inflation and numerous other financial security concerns, the market outlook for those purchases has not been that great, and thusly about 40% of those housing constructions have been canceled. The on-order to-be-constructed number has now dropped from around 1 million down to just under 600,000, around 590 or so. And thus, obviously, you can imagine construction, especially for smaller buildings such as homes, is a huge source of lumber demand. So particularly on the housing end of that, an abrupt vanishing of about 40% of that demand obviously is going to trigger a price drop. Prices were still going to be going down, but it probably would have been more slowly, and probably would have been a market price drop of only about $100. But instead, we have the price movements that we have now seen. So that's the end of this brief episode. Thank you everybody for sticking around and listening. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. I have dozens and dozens of other videos, episodes about all kinds of different issues and subjects. You can support me through PayPal or Patreon. Those links are down below. Only do so if you actually can. Go sub to my cat's channel for non-depressing content. Trying to get her up to 1,000 subs before the November deadline. But no matter what becomes of me, may God bless and protect all of you, and I will see you all around next time.